G'day Guardians, Roguey here. After playing around with Void 3.0 for a couple of weeks now, I'm pretty confident with the Hunter build that I've put together. Void 3.0 brings with it a few subclass specific keywords. Suppression, similar to blinding, combatants cannot fire their weapons, but on top of that, the affected target is also taken out of any of their active abilities and cannot activate any other during the effect. Volatile, a debuff that, once applied, causes the target to explode upon taking additional damage, and finally, weaken. The target takes increased damage, is slowed, and has reduced accuracy. With so many new tools at our disposal, it has been a blast to theory craft, test, and utilize the power of Void 3.0. But before we get into the build itself, I'd love to hear what has been your favorite thing about the Void 3.0 update and what you have been running. 2 lucky commenters will win a Follw the Light emblem given to us by Destiny ANZ. From my playtesting so far, the most powerful of these 3 keywords is Volatile. Volatile allows us to quickly clear out large concentration of adds, but also melt down any high HP targets with ease. Intrinsically, Volatile can only be applied through the fragment Echo of Instability, which reads, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons. While getting kills with Void nades has never been easier, since the gravity effect, once unique to dusk-filled grenades, has been applied to the Vortex grenade. The buff only lasts for about 8 seconds, and the average nade cooldown is about 2 minutes or so. Thankfully, Season of the Risen brings with it an incredibly powerful and inexpensive mod. Volatile Flow, a 2-cost elemental well mod that gives our Void weapons volatile rounds for about 15 seconds or so once we pick up a Void well. 15 seconds, nearly double that of Echo of Instability. Void wells are also the most reliable to generate. The Reaping Wellmaker mod allows our next kill after using our class ability to generate a Void elemental well. With Hunter dodge roll on about a 30-second cooldown, this means we can regularly self-apply volatile rounds. So as long as we are adding in a grenade kill between dodge roll cooldowns, we can maintain a very high uptime on volatile rounds. Now, this isn't even taking into consideration if your fire team are also running ways to generate void wells. If everyone is running a copy of Reaping Wellmaker or Elemental Ordnance, you're going to have a 100% uptime. The other fragments we'll be making use of are Echo of Expulsion, Void ability final blows cause targets to explode, allowing our Vortex grenades to really pack a punch, Echo of Remnants, increasing the duration of Vortex, and finally Echo of Starvation, giving us the Devourer buff, previously only available to those greedy warlocks when we pick up an Orb of Power. As for aspects, we are running the classic Vanishing Step, giving us invisibility on dodge roll, and Stylish Executioner. Now, Stylish Executioner has quickly become one of my favourite things in the game, applying stealth each time we defeat a target that is affected by weakened, suppressed, or in our case, volatile. This means every time we kill a combatant that has volatile applied to them, we become invisible and gain true sight. That is out of control. Taking on large clusters of combatants suddenly becomes a joke. Each volatile foe we fell, resetting aggro, allowing us a breather and the chance to re-engage on our own terms. This is what I'm loving most about Void 3.0. All these different synergies and effects, and we haven't even gotten halfway through our combat mods yet. Before we continue, let's take stock of what our combat loop currently looks like. We start each fight with a dodge roll to proc Reaping Wellmaker and stealth. Find a close by red bar to kill, spawning us a Void Well. Upon picking up this Void Well, we gained volatile rounds for 15 seconds, giving all of our Void weapons a substantial damage output increase and adding an AoE explosion effect. After each volatile kill, we are also gaining stealth and true sight. Once our volatile round buff expires, we throw out a Vortex grenade to proc Echo of Instability, giving us an 8-second volatile round buff and enough time for our dodge roll to come off cooldown to repeat the combat loop again. The nice thing about Reaping Wellmaker, there's actually no time limit on when you need to kill a target after dodge rolling. So even if we dodge roll and there are no enemies in sight, our next weapon kill will always spawn us a Void Well. There is, of course, the obvious limitation that we must be running a void weapon to make use of volatile rounds. Thankfully, we are not short of any amazing void weapons to make use of this buff. The newly added funnel web submachine gun is the first that comes to mind. Get this beauty to roll with subsistence and frenzy, and all of a sudden, you've got yourself the most powerful primary ammo weapon in the game. Haven't dropped a funnel web yet? I've been loving Reckless Oracle, Likely Suspect, and Father's Sin as well. And if I'm feeling really adventurous, I'll equip my Osmosis Firefly Fatebringer for some incredibly satisfying Solar Void explosive finishes. Move over, Two-Tailed Fox. As for the remaining combat mods, we are going all in on Void Wells. We are running Well of Tenacity, giving us 3 stacks of resistance, further improving our survivability. Font of Might, currently a 1-cost mod from the artifact, down from 4, providing us with a 25% damage buff to our void weapons, as if volatile rounds wasn't enough. And finally, Elemental Time Dilation, giving each of these buffs a longer duration. I like to swap this one out with Seeking Wells or Elemental Armaments / Ordnance, depending on the encounter. The final cherry on top is a single harmonic siphon in our helmet, generating us orbs of power from rapid void weapon final blows. This way, we have a reliable source of orbs to proc Devourer. So let's take a look at the list of buffs we can easily find ourselves sporting at the one time. Volatile rounds, stealth, void weapon damage increase, Devourer, True Sight, and Resistance. We literally cannot fit all of our buffs on screen at once, which of course can make it a little bit challenging to keep track of all of our different timings, but it's a small price to pay for this level of power. Now the next question here, with all this going on, which exotic best fits this build? And honestly, I'm a little bit torn between Omnioculus and Orpheus Rig. Having Omnioculus allows us to swap out Well of Tenacity, as we're going to be gaining that resistance from the stealth, while Orpheus Rig provides us a third volley to the already insanely high damage Mobius Quiver. I've been leaning towards Orpheus a little bit more, but would love to hear any suggestions. I feel like Graviton Forfeit could even come in clutch here. As for our stat distribution, Mobility and Discipline are my 2 favourites to spec in. I've been having so much fun running this build in the Vow of the Disciple raid. I found it extremely useful in the Caretaker encounter, being able to quickly fell any incoming waves of Taken using the explosive effect of volatile rounds to proc stealth, granted from Stylish Executioner, to dart my way across the battlefield. It feels like every activity introduced in the Witch Queen is brimming with enemies to try out our newfound powers on, so get out there, Guardians, and give this build a crack. I'll see you in the next one.